Hi, hope you're doing well. I'm Nicole, and this is actually the first time I'm introducing myself in my videos, and the others I haven't done it. I don't know why. But yeah, if you're new here, think about subscribing if you like my content, and let's get started. So, today I wanted to talk about three amazing visual creators, ranging from photography to painting, actually, the other way around, but yeah. So, I wanted to talk about Lina Viktor, Kerry Marshall, and Gordon Parks. And because of the historical chronology, I want to start with Gordon Parks. So Gordon Parks was a black photographer. He got interest in photography when he was looking into the Life magazine. There was a quite famous documentary photography magazine that was covering wars and the Great Depression. And one of the work he was really inspired by was the one of Dorothea Lange, who he really admired. And when he saw the images in the Life magazine, he was like, okay, I want to do the same thing. And at the age of 25, he kind of started to do it. He didn't had any formal trainings or anything like that, so that made it even more special that he just had a kind of maybe a more freer mind to approach this thing that he just maybe fell in love with. He was documenting black people in the segregation as well as white working class people, but he did it in a way that was with dignity and with empathy, and he took loads of time to talk with the people beforehand before he took the pictures, so that there was kind of a sense of trust in what he was doing and in the images he was creating. So with that approach, he kind of broke the barriers in how black people are seen in society and the stars that are behind the people and the faces that are on the images. So that made him quite a special and well admired photographer in his time and beyond. Parks also described photography as his choice of weapon, and I think why he's calling it a choice of weapon, because he saw the poverty, he saw the pain, but he also saw the beauty. And I think that the way he transcended the images kind of made it available for people to really understand the struggle that people are facing, as well as just the simplicity and the ordinariness of what has been going on in black people's everyday life, especially because he decided to in some images put black people in the position of like an heroic position. And that kind of changed the shift in the gaze and how black people are photographed, and I think he did a great job. He also wrote the novel Invisible Man, and he was, I think, just a very beautiful creative person who just did what he felt like. Because I think in one interview someone said he wasn't supposed to do these things, but he just did it. And yeah, he didn't, I think, had these barriers in his head of what he as a black man or as a black person can or cannot do. And I think you see it in his work, and the integrity, the genuine interest of making a change with the work he has produced. Let's move on to the next artist, that is Kerry Marshall. So Kerry Marshall is a painter who focuses exclusively on black people and black experiences in this work. And he, I think, as well studied at the art university. But what made him interesting is that he kind of referred his images to the old masteries. Like I believe, he didn't really say any artists in particular, but people like Caravaggio or Da Vinci, I think, was some of his inspiration, and the impact and the worldview they shaped on people. I think was that something he also wanted to incorporate in his work, as well as maybe demystifying or encoding the code that is imported into the art world and what it means to be an artist. and how you have to create when you sign up to go to art university. So these are things or questions he put himself. So if Black people weren't in the old consideration of the old masters in the center, how can he put that in while not making it as a personal thing? Because this is just in the Western world just a global thing that Black people, of course, in imagery haven't been put into a centered mind, and he wanted to do that, but in a way that is a bit more radical. And what is radical is, what I find radical in his work is the ordinariness that he puts the people in. So they're not just like in a very overhuman way or in a very like heroic aspect, as how Gordon Parks did it in a way, but in a very ordinary life setting. And when I say ordinary life setting, it means that people go on dates, people going to the hair salon, people painting themselves as an act of reclaiming the narrative. So that, I think, is a very powerful way of incorporating it, especially if you think about the concept of Black excellence, that as a Black person you are only worth something if you over succeed and over thrive white people or as equal as white people. And I think that's just very toxic sometimes and problematic, because where is the space just to be and to reclaim yourself without having to compete, and just understand the radicalness in ordinary life, and that especially through the traumatic experiences Black people face and racism, that sometimes these spaces of ordinariness are not even given. So creating these Black spaces, these Black utopias, if you will, where it doesn't really matter what you have to achieve, but just that you can be, and that in itself is a radical self-love act, and I think he represents that really well. So the last artist I want to recommend is Lina Viktor. She is a quite contemporary artist at the moment, and yeah, she does beautiful self-portraits with the combination of multimedia art. She herself describes her art as a 3D sculptures, because she uses like ropes, or I'm not even sure what material she uses, but she uses so basically she takes, I think, a photograph of herself, and then maybe she prints it out, and then on the printed image she continues painting on them and continues working with different materials to give it this three-dimensional look. And I think that's really beautiful. In her work that is most known and prominent, she basically focuses on the color blue, gold, and black, as well as white. Even though in recent works I've seen that she also started using more red, but I'm not sure what the meaning is of it. But as she said as well in the interview, that this is at that time, that I think it was in 2017, that those three colors were the ones she is most drawn to through the social meaning of them. Like in her work she uses like 24 karat gold, what is, I think, very expensive, I'm not sure, but this is literally what she want to show, like that with false gold, if she would use false gold, it wouldn't really replicate the same value as if she would use so using real gold is way more, of course, in value than using false gold, and she wanted to basically do that to make a standpoint of the value of that, but also at the same time that she uses like black body paint or blackness in general. She refers to the universe and the concept of the dark matter, that in the darkness there's lots of information, and that she basically wants to show the beauty and the deepness and darkness, and that's not maybe something that we should be kind of always skeptical and scared of, and that's probably mostly the opposite of what the dark matter represents. But again, if you want to know more about her, I'm going to link her down below so that you can check her out. She values, or what's important to her is to create a moment of meditation with her work, a moment of asking different questions. And I think that's really good, a moment where one can maybe forget what's going on and start asking questions. And I think that's a beautiful way of keeping it still open. And I think the mystery that this work also has in my eyes, even though she refers a lot to like African leaders, like in one of her paintings she represents herself as Yaa Asantewaa. So basically Yaa Asantewaa, when the British Empire wanted to invade, she resisted it, and she kind of led the fight against the British people when they were coming to Ghana. And so this kind of historical aspects as well flow into her work as well. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the little short recommendation of beautiful and amazing Black artists, and I hope that I see you next time. Bye.